I don't know about you, Marcy, but for me and for my wife, we had certain ideas of what happily ever after looks like. So like I love your podcast, first kiss to wedded bliss, but we all have this idea of what does wedded bliss look like. And for me, I'm pretty laid back. And so I had just a couple of expectations. It was like spend time with me and food and sex. And that was about it. Physical intimacy. That was what I was expecting and wanting going into the marriage. And my wife, as she tells the story, she had a lot more expectations. And I don't think I've ever lived up to them yet. But, we watch the fairy tales and we have an idea of what happily ever after looks like. I'm kind of curious, Marcy, as you were kind of growing up, what was happily ever after? What did that mean for you?
I think probably for most women and maybe most couples going into a marriage, they think that that person is going to meet all of their needs.
Yeah.
They're not going to be, there's nothing that they're going to want for anymore. If I finally meet this right person, this soulmate of mine, then all will be well in the world. All my problems will be solved. I
Yeah.
think that's kind of the idea that people go into marriage with a lot of times when they romanticize it a lot.
Yeah. And you're so right. And that's exactly what we do. And then we get into it because, like, no matter how long you've known the person, you fall deeply in love with them. You then get married and you're spending all this time together and you realize, oh, like they're not living up to whatever the expectations that I thought they would. Things aren't necessarily working out the way that I want them to. I don't always have these great feelings that I thought I would have. And what we're seeing happen is because people have the wrong definition of what happily ever after looks like, when they get into marriage and they don't find that, then they turn to other people, other things, or they just give up on their marriage. Mm-hmm. And so we have to, and one of the things my wife and I had to do each on our own is what is a true biblical definition of what happily ever after or wedded bliss looks like? What does that look like? Mm-hmm. And it's really, once we come to that understanding that it's not whatever Hollywood or Disney cartoons or anything else tells you what wedded bliss or happily ever after looks like, but what does God say about marriage? What does he want from your marriage and from my marriage? And once we begin to look at things from that point of view and we have the proper definition, then we can learn to build on, the foundation properly. So that was the first part of the journey for us. But yeah, it's, if you don't have the right definition, you're going to be longing for and always searching for whatever that is.
That's really good insights. Expectations from the start. I imagine you guys went through some sort of premarital counseling. Did you have any counseling?
We did. We actually, we met at the church that I had gone to since I was a child. And my wife went to that church for 4 or 5, 6, 7 years. I don't exactly remember how long. And then her family ended up going to a different church in the area. And so we did premarital counseling with my pastor at my church. We did premarital counseling at her church. And then we also went through marriage books and workbooks on our own. So we covered a lot of it, but it's so funny because even in all that, you think, oh, they've got it. And we thought we did. And then we got married and it was like, we still had so many problems, so much to learn.
Yes. I think that's the difference between head knowledge and then experiential knowledge, right?
Yes, you're so right. Yeah, just because we know something doesn't mean we actually put it into practice.
Right.